At this point, Jerry Williams going to the experience and putting Lloyd in at the middle linebacking position. First and goal to go, Ron Johnson. Touchdown, Giants.
Well, hello. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. And welcome to the Gridiron. Before we get started, I just want to say thank you so much to everyone out there who's been watching my videos. Thank you. If you can maybe give this video a thumbs up or possibly leave a comment below or maybe even share this video, it would mean so much to me. But anyways, thank you so much for just taking time out of your day to check out this video. Thank you. Well, the New York Giants and Joe Schoen article here I saw, from NJ.com, looks like. I guess, right? Yeah, makes some sense. It's like why Joe Schoen, quite possibly is thinking about like the secondary. All right, I was thinking about maybe 2023 and maybe not so much 2022. All right, as far as I don't know, as far as getting big time players in, why we're shedding guys, and it doesn't seem like we're really filling it in with the appropriate people. So it makes a lot of sense, but also, it makes more sense when I go over, this article here, because there's like two guys in particular next year, okay? One of them's a cornerback and one of them's a safety, and they have familiarity, with not only Joe Schoen, but Don Wink Martindale. All right, Joe Schoen, the New York Giants. Let's see. If you see a tail here or anything flying up in there, that's got a cat here. All right, so that's pay no attention to the tail in the picture. All right, so here is the article. All right, why it's clear Joe Schoen is thinking about 2023 and not 2022 with the Giants secondary and top free agents. The top free agents that he could target. I mean, obviously, one of the biggest things, we have no money. So as far as trying to target top free agents in the secondary, I mean, yeah, it's costing you some money. He's doing the best he can with the money he did, especially with the free agents, shall we say. I said, there's few videos that I said, the only thing that upsets me a little bit is that, we're trying to get rid of Bradbury. We're thin in the secondary. Going into the draft, we had two safeties, right? You're getting rid of Bradbury. Now, who are you replacing Bradbury with, right? So I said, the only thing that ticked me off a little bit was that in our second round, right? We had the fourth pick in the second round. We traded back two times. We could have had, there was a couple safeties there. We could have had Minnesota jumped in front of us and got a cornerback, and then we took Wan'Dale Robinson. I mean, we had chances. We could have jumped back into the first round and grabbed somebody. We had chances, to solidify the secondary, a little bit. It's not a finished product or anything like that. But, I mean, to go in there and grab somebody who was probably pretty decent, and we failed to do that. And, it just seemed like after Wan'Dale, I mean, we got some nice players, don't get me wrong. But, I mean, as far as a bona fide, just put them in there and start from day one player, no. So that's the thing that got me a little bit, all right? So, I mean, obviously, in the draft next year, we can certainly solidify the secondary, all right? But let's see what we got here. All right, yeah, this is true. I mean, you got to give Dave Gettleman a little credit here, okay? In 4 years, Dave Gettleman spent plenty of valuable resources trying to build a quality secondary. And he did. He tried. It never quite took. I mean, he drafted 6 defensive backs in the first 4 rounds. Same deal. We gave up a third rounder for. I mean, he tried. It just didn't work out. DeAndre Baker. He jumped back into the first round, traded up to get DeAndre Baker. I mean, who knew what was going to freaking happen with this guy? I mean, unless he had a bunch of red flags in college, who knew? Then we got Julian Love. All right. I mean, I that pick I love. Xavier McKinney, love the pick. He did a phenomenal job with Xavier McKinney. Darnay Holmes actually with PFF. He actually got a little bit better last year, but he's not a Shane or Dable guy. So the thing is, we got Flott. Shane drafted Flott, and that's the position Holmes, has. So, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see, is Holmes, I don't want to say on his way out, but, if he's not a Shane or Dable guy, right? Then we got Aaron Robinson, which, nice pick, third round, great pick last year. Missed a bunch of time last year. Once again, he's not a Shane or Dable guy, so we'll have to wait and see. And you don't know. I mean, can he step in there and take over position, maybe cornerback number 2? Can he do that? We're going to find out this year. Yes, we will. Okay. Then he signed James Bradberry, Adoree Jackson, Logan Ryan, and he traded for Jabrill Peppers. I mean, honest to goodness, guys, it may not have worked out as well as we'd like to, but I'll tell you what. All right. I mean, you drafted Xavier McKinney, right? You traded for Jabrill Peppers. You brought in Logan Ryan. That's a nice trio of safeties right there. Julian Love is Mr. Duct Tape. You can put him freaking anywhere. You drafted Aaron Robinson. They signed James Bradberry and Dory Jackson. I mean, that's a nice secondary. It didn't work out, It didn't work out. I mean, for whatever the reason was, But I mean, he tried. I mean, that's a nice secondary. However you want to look at it, Maybe it didn't work out as well as we thought, but he tried. Okay. But now you got general manager, Joe Schoen, is taking a bit of a different approach, okay, to start out his Giants tenure. Though Gettleman didn't leave him much choice with the cap situation, Schoen is playing the long game. This offseason, Schoen cut, I'm still scratching Logan Ryan, you thin at safety, you cut Logan Ryan to save, like $750,000, I think it was. And they had to get rid of Bradberry to say, if they wanted to sign any other draft class, they had to get rid of Bradberry. So Ryan, for culture reasons, I don't know. I don't understand that one. And Bradberry to save some money. Okay. So basically, that's 2 key players going out and not much coming in. He drafted Cordell Flott, okay, third rounder out of LSU, and a nickel corner, okay, that is more likely to replace Darnay Holmes than Bradberry. So he might be replacing Holmes, right? He picked safety Dane Belton, dying to see what this dude can do. Very excited about seeing him, right? In the 4th round out of Iowa, and he'll push Love for playing time at safety. Okay, so that's good. Wednesday, the Giants signed, Kennedy, Dorsey, and Henry Black. Don't really expect the world from these guys, okay? Bam. So right here. None of those 3 players should be starting for any NFL team. So if we got Kennedy, Dorsey, or Black in there as our starters, our main guy, that's because we got injuries. We could be hurt, all right? But Shane isn't building a secondary for 2022. That unit is being built for the future, even if he has to go through some bumps on the road in 2022. I mean, you almost kind of knew that was going to happen, right? Expect the Giants to be major players for defensive backs at free agency in 2023. Cool. Right? In the meantime, Dory Jackson will bump up to the number 1 cornerback spot, a position he hasn't really played in the NFL. Jackson has some durability concerns, missing 22 games combined in the past 3 years. And if Shane cuts him next year, he'll save about $9 million. He's far from a lock to still be around at this time next year. Okay, though his talent is evident. He's a good fit in Wink Martindale's defense, and he's still only 26 years old. So if we wind up keeping him, that wouldn't be bad. All right. Then we got Aaron Robinson, his first crack at winning the job in the outside corner, opposite Dory Jackson, vacated by Bradberry. He was drafted as a nickel corner in the 3rd round last year, but played 149 of 268 defensive snaps on the outside as a rookie. It would make Shane's job a lot easier in 2023 if Robinson can emerge this year as a starting quality cornerback. So we're going to find out. Robinson will likely beat out 2021 6th-round pick for Darius Williams. Okay, and the 28-year-old candidate for the starting job. Okay, at nickel, Flott will battle with Holmes, drafted in the 4th round 2 years ago. Flott was drafted in the 3rd, right, and higher than many experts had him projected. But so clearly Shane envisions the LSU product as a long-term solution at nickel. Okay, so let's hope. I'll tell you what, Flott has some very good worth ethics. So he's got that going for him. All right. Now maybe that's Jackson, Robinson, and Flott, or maybe it's none of them. All right. At safety, McKinney is a solid second season, okay, getting 93 tackles and 5 interceptions. But now he'll have to be relied upon as the primary playmaker in the secondary for the first time. Love is in his last year of his contract, and previous coaching staffs tended to avoid using him as a full-time starter. So if the guys who drafted him maybe didn't want to use him for full-time starter, what do you think these guys are going to? What do you think Wink's going to want to do? Probably not, Belton played more of a hybrid linebacker role, hybrid nickelback role at Iowa than as a pure safety. So, all right. If Shane is waiting for 2023 free agency when the Giants are expected to have significant cap space, he'll have options at both cornerback and safety. Now, all right, it's just so confusing. I've got Spot Track here, right? They got the Giants for next year, the estimated cap space at 51. All right. Then you got over the cap as the Giants cap space at 54. So I'm not exactly sure. I mean, some of this is I don't understand. Next year, you got Dexter Lawrence, over the cap's Dexter Lawrence base salary at 12.4. Spot Track is Dexter Lawrence's base salary at 10.7. Base salary 10.7. So I'm not exactly sure which one's correct. Okay. But, as we have a little over $50 million for next year, but we don't have a quarter. We got Tyrod Taylor. Okay. We got that. There's no Daniel Jones involved in there. Okay. And there's no Saquon in there either. All right. Now, the other thing I'm kind of questioning is the adjusted salary cap for next year. I thought this was supposed to be closer to almost 230, like 228. I don't know where I went, dropped to 218. So I'm still questioning kind of that. All right. I thought it was going to be a little higher than that. But I mean, as of right now, with no quarterback other than Tyrod Taylor and no Saquon Barkley, the Giants got $51 million. Now, you got the top three here. The Giants let Leonard Williams go, all right? His cap hit is 26. Let him go is a dead cap of 8.3. So it'd be $18 million we'll save if we let Leonard Williams go. All right. It's going to be a hurt, on the defensive front, but 18 million is 18 million. So you add the 18 to this, and you're almost up around $70 million. Okay. If you let Kenny Golladay go, that's almost $7 million. All right. So now you get up to about $77 million. Okay. Then if you let Adoree Jackson go, there's another 9. All right. So you're up to about $85 million you'd be up if you let these three guys go. But now you just let your top cornerback go. You got a boatload of slot receivers, but Kenny Galladay's your true outside guy, jump ball and all that. He's gone. And then your best defensive lineman, he's gone. All right. So you'll have some money. You have 85 million or so. That's cool. And it could be even more. I'm saying if this number goes up, right? I mean, you could have 95 million. But I said, let's not forget, you're going to have Tyrod Taylor as your quarterback next year. You're going to try to draft somebody, bring somebody in, right? You're going to sign, Saquon. Who knows? But I mean, I said, it gives them some options. All right, it certainly gives us some options. I mean, they can go out and they can come in. They can bring in a couple really nice guys. A couple, maybe like 2. At the most 2 nights, because they're going to have the draft class. They're going to have to sign. They're going to have other guys who are going to need to sign and all that and everything. So, I mean, but they could probably go out and sign a couple really nice guys. All right. So let's go back to this article here and let's start looking over it. All right. Whoop. There's their depth class right there. All right. So here, right back to the article now. Let's see what we got here. The top cornerbacks available, all right, include one with ties with Martindale. Ravens corner Marcus Peters, the 29-year-old who tore his ACL last year. Okay, he didn't play at all last year. That's one of the reasons why the Ravens, gave up a lot of chunk plays. They gave up a lot of long plays, touchdowns, and all that. One of the reasons why Martindale, his defense wasn't so good last year. I mean, they lost like 3 running backs in 1 week. Their secondary was in a shambles. I mean, it was what it was. But the difference is okay, is that let me see. I forgot. What do we got here? Nope. Let me NFL 2021. All right, here we go. The difference is, okay, they're gonna show it here. There we go. Okay, got it. See the difference, all right? The Ravens went up in last place, okay? So did the Giants. Now, the Ravens had a lot of injuries. Even Jackson was hurt, too, okay? Their quarterback was hurt. Our quarterback was hurt. They lost 3 running backs in 1 week. Their secondary was in a shambles. We had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of injuries, right? But the difference is when you got some depth and you're well coached, okay, they're in last place, but you're almost 500, okay. But when you have no depth, okay, because you got all these guys with high salaries out there, right, and you have bad coaching, okay, this is what you wind up with the injuries. You wind up 4-13, okay. So that just goes to show you, all right. So I mean, he gave up almost 400 points with Martindale. I mean, what we got? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 teams, only 6 teams. Yeah, he was like, almost the 7th worst in the, gave up a lot of points last year. That's one of the reasons why he kind of lost. They also, because of Jackson getting hurt, they also lost. They were actually 8-3. Wow, I forgot all about that. They lost their last 6. They went from 8-3, pretty much in first place, to 8-9. So, but it is what it is. But I mean, that goes to show, just goes to show you, okay. But I mean, I said if we look, right, like Marcus Peters, Jonathan Jones with the Patriots, Anthony Brown from the Cowboys, Byron Murphy from the Cardinals, Rock Ya-Sin from the Raiders, Greedy Williams from the Browns, okay, and Bradley Roby from the Saints, all right. Now, of course, we got the Marcus Peters has got the familiarity with Martindale. All right. So, but let's, he's 29. Okay. So obviously next year he'll be 30. All right. And actually, what are we, so, right. So, I mean, he's not going to be a young pup. I mean, he's got familiarity with Wink. Okay. He spent the past actually would have been the past 3 seasons with Wink. Okay. But, in 2021, he was hurt, but I mean, he was there in 2019, 2020, and 2021. He would have been there. Okay. But I mean, the last year he played was in 2020. Okay. So that's what these are, these stats here for 2020. He graded out a 67.2 for the season. All right. His run defense was not super spectacular. Okay. But his coverage was very good. 72.1. Okay. Very, very good. All right. He graded out a 67.2. The year before that, all right, he was the top of his game then. All right, look, in 2019, he was the cornerback, graded out at 83.9. A couple of years before that, when he was with Kansas City, graded out at 81.7. 2016, he was 79.7. Right, so he's got, he's had some good years in the past. And as I said, are those good years all behind him, especially now with the torn ACL? Who knows? But I said next year he'll be 30, not a young pup, but he's not over the hill yet. Maybe sign him for a couple years, maybe get the best out of him and help build up the rest of the secondary. Who knows? But I'm saying, Marcus Peters, he's got some familiarity with Wink Martindale. So it'll be very interesting to see if the Giants go after him, all right, to help solidify their secondary there. All right. Then we go to the free agency class is more loaded at safety. Yes, it is. All right. You got Jesse Bates with the Bengals, Jordan Poyer with the Bills, all right? Jimmy Ward with 49ers, Adrian Amos with the Packers, Minka Fitzpatrick, Steelers, all right? Derwin James with the Chargers, Terrell Edmonds with the Steelers, all right? They got 2 of their safeties, wow. Adderley with the Chargers, Taylor Rapp with the Rams, Von Bell with the Bengals. They got Bell and Bates. They're both gone. Both free agents, okay? And then we got Anthony Harris from the Eagles, right? But what we got here, okay, is with Mr. Poyer, Jordan Poyer with the Bills, all right? Now, once again, he's not a young pup either, okay? He's 31 this year. He just turned 31 in April. But so next year he'll be 32, all right? not over the hill. Okay, maybe he has some couple years left in him, but obviously his better years are certainly going to be behind him. But I said, if you wind up looking, he has a very nice seasons here. He graded out a 77, then a 71. He graded out a 74, 87 in 2017. He had some really past, his worst season was in 2018. And we got the past 5 years. It was a 68.4. So, he graded out. But look at this coverage grade, 90.9 last year, 86.8. His coverage, boy, he brings it too. I'll tell you, he'll hit you. He will hit you in a heartbeat. Freaking love that guy. I've seen some highlights of him. The dude loves to hit. Okay. Now the thing is here, all right. It's interesting I found with the Bills, okay, is you got their coverage, the coverage here on defense. These are from teams from last year, okay. The Bills were number 5. For a while, they're 84.1. The coverage rate for their team, 84.1. For a while there, they were in the top 3 quite a bit last year. They must have fallen off in the past couple of weeks or whatever it was. But 84.1, the whole team coverage grade. Now, if you look here, what's so interesting about this, okay, you got team reports, defense coverage. All right, now look at these 2 top grades, 89.8, 86.8. Guess who they are? Both safeties. Micah Hyde and Jordan Poyer, right? Both safeties. They graded out the highest on the Bills last year, okay? Poyer was an 86.8 coverage-wise last year. Micah Hyde, 89, almost a freaking 90 coverage grade by Micah Hyde. So this is going to be very, very interesting to see. Obviously, they try to build, they built a good team in Buffalo. Maybe Buffalo starts it maybe from the safeties and works up front. You get the established safeties, and then you worry about the corners, and then maybe maybe they're going to try to do the same thing with the Giants. They got maybe Xavier McKinney. Maybe they pick up Poyer. Who knows? Maybe next year, right? But look at that coverage grade, absolutely phenomenal. But it was very interesting. I saw that the Bills, their top 2 coverage guys were safeties. But yeah, so it'd be interesting to see. I said he'll be 32 next year, so maybe they can pick him up for a couple years. He won't be super duper expensive at 32 years old. It'll be if the Giants have $70-80 million or so to spend, they can pick him up. The only thing is, do they want to? But once again, there's the familiarity there. Familiarity is absolutely huge. Right, so the familiarity, Marcus Peters, and the familiarity, okay, with Jordan Poyer, who's a very good safety. All right. And we finish up here. So while it might seem to make sense for the Giants to go and sign a veteran cornerback or safety to aid an inexperienced and unproven group, don't expect Schoen to make any more big splashes. He really can't, especially money-wise, right? For 2022, the Giants will focus on developing their young talent and figuring out if the players that they have can be long-term solutions. So they brought in a lot of guys. They drafted drafted a safety. They drafted a cornerback. Right. We got some young guys in the secondary, especially from last year's draft. Right. So after this season's over with, I'm sure they'll sit down and see who they might want to keep, who they might want to get rid of, and especially who they might want to target in next year's free agency.
So you see, hopefully, Xavier McKinney's a keeper. Hopefully. Okay. Saying, you want to pair somebody up with him. So you need, one guy, and then you need some depth. Don't know if they're going to keep Julian Love around or not. That you don't know. Other thing you don't know, okay, a couple things. Like Aaron Robinson is here. Will he be able to take on cornerback number 1 position? Will he be able to take on cornerback number 2 position? You don't know what they're going to do with Adoree Jackson. Like as you saw, if they get rid of him next year, they save themselves some money. Now he's a young, he's not that old, right? So I'm not exactly sure if he's exactly what they need or not. But if they're looking to shed some salary next year and save some additional money, Dory Jackson might be gone. So So did they really fill their safety needs this year? Possibly not. Did they fill their cornerback needs this year? I don't think so. So, I mean, especially with Dominic Martindale and his defense, you know, the secondary is absolutely huge. You got to get the right guys back there, because if you put second stringers or whatever back there on an island all by themselves, you know, they're going to give up some big plays, some touchdowns, and that's one of the reasons why Martindale got kind of in the way got canned, you know, from the Ravens, because, you know, his secondary was kind of depleted, and he kept seeming to run maybe the same type of defense, putting these second stringers or whatever, you know, in the secondary, you know, on their own little island. They couldn't hold up, and the Ravens gave up big plays, and they gave up a lot of points, and that's one of the reasons why they wound up in the position that they were in. So quite possibly, you know, I mean, especially with the salary cap situation that Joe Schoen was left with, okay, quite possibly, you know, Joe Schoen has looked toward maybe next year, yeah, free agency, possibly maybe even the draft, to hopefully help solidify the Giants secondary. Well, as always, guys, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to check out this video. You guys stay safe out there, and go Giants! Woo!